And we are on its finals day here at Windmill Tournament 2019. And after a wild Saturday night, we get all the hot action Sunday. First final up, Santa Barbara Condors versus Great Britain Open. I'm Stefan Rapazzo, joined with Benjamin Reese as we see the first putt go full length of the field for a goal. GB Open shoots to Robbie Haynes and get up 1-0 early. Benji, how are we doing this morning? What do you like about this game?
I'm doing pretty good. One of the reasons everyone loves Windmill is because of the famous parties. The silent disco was great. It was even an underground shower rave. Only Windmill would book a DJ for the bathrooms. What a tournament! I'd expect both of these teams to know each other a little bit more than they did in the first game. They played in the Swiss draw matchup. They had a slightly unsatisfying 14-all draw, so it definitely feels like there's a bit of unfinished business. GB's deep game has really been on point when I've seen them play this weekend. The game we streamed against the Irish, they just couldn't shut that down, and Briggs, who's one of the main handlers for that O-line, loves putting it deep, and that time to Robbie Haynes was right on the money.
Looking good from the start, RGB. They are well rested, maybe underrepresented at the party last night themselves when we talk about a tournament like Windmill with the epic nature of the party. The Condors, on the other hand, were out in full force, flying. Could that be a difference in today's game?
Definitely there was a slightly different intensity in the warm-ups. GB very focused, whereas Condors, when we talked to them to get a little bit of information, they'd actually got a round of beers in, and I fully respect that sort of hustle.
Let's see how it transpires here now. Condors, the storied team from Santa Barbara, one of the first in the business, heading out the other way. Well taken high by early. Condors now in attacking zone. Warner pops over in front of the end zone, power position, centered now, 7 meters out, gets the reset. It's Hall, pops in, not quite in now for goal, and that counts. Weaver with the goal for the Condors. They answer back, Benji. We're knotted one apiece early.
Condors mentioned in our pre-game interview that the GB played this junky look against them quite a lot in the first game, and they kind of think were caught a little bit off guard. They're expecting GB to be a very physical, intense match-up defense team, and that slowed them down in the first game. This time they're done with it pretty well. GB transitioned nicely into going one-on-one. When that shot went up that hung for a little bit, they used that opportunity to then just switch. Made a really, really nice transition, but good use of the break side from Condors. And the little blade down the line to Aaron Reaver was exactly where it needed to be for the Condors to tie it up at once.
Early going here. GB, as you mentioned, said part of their issues or reason they didn't hit form in their last game, the 14-all draw against the Condors. They said it was that American style that took them a while, and as you say, it could be that physicality, could be the penchant for shooting deep. But they said it took them just a little while to settle in and allow themselves to play their own game. Here's GB now from their own end. Wilson to Yo. Wilson again. Playing in their end. Small gainer. Rollage. An errant pass, but the Mac almost gave a second chance to keep it alive. Unfortunately for Great Britain, that second chance did not stay with them, and the Condors going the other way, looking to break early in this game. Condors. Good movement early. Bacon. No relation to Kevin Bacon. Centers. Dead midfield. The weather is, let's say, turned off again. A lot of cloud. The wind picking up. Condors shoot for goal. Counts there. Raj Matra cashes in 2-1. big break for Condors early, Benji.
Joran Mosik, we saw doing a lot of work after the turn for the Condors D-line offense. He's a player who has played out in the States, was based in California for a bit, played with San Diego Street Gang, but so he's very familiar to one of these players, even though he's Dutch by origin and lives over here now. He's one of these players who we've seen kind of become a little bit of a mercenary at Windmill. He's played for quite a lot of teams, but you can see why everyone's keen to get him on the roster when he does good stuff, like this little blade to the back of the end zone that we're going to see here.
On point.
You see, he put his hand in the air. He knew it was good before he'd even caught it.
He did his part, that's for sure. Celebrate. Celebrate all the victories. So, GB are going to be in a position to chase a break now. First things first. Hold. But that's one in the pocket for the Condors. To get it early is nice, but no stranger to the potential to break either of these teams in their first outing. Game of runs, 3-point runs going either way. Here comes GB. Handling unit. Forward, it's too big. Second effort, jumping over camera people. And this wind is wreaking havoc at the moment. Condors. Chance for a second break. Dom Leggio
This is
checking in the disc.
This is easily the strongest we've seen the wind all weekend.
Leggio gets it back after his inbound pass. Went well. Condors slowly chipping away in the attacking end now. There's nothing slow about it. 2 meters out, Leggio waiting for options, looking to put something into small space and finds in the smallest of space. That's not Wayne Gretzky, that's Tim Gilligan. It's 3-1, 2 breaks already for the Santa Barbara Condors.
Gilligan, a fantastic player, played a lot of years with San Francisco Revolver, playing for this Condors side now. He's a player who's come over to Europe a couple of times to play in these big party tournaments, and maybe having just that, enjoying the nightlife a little bit more has worked for Condors. They seem to be a bit more relaxed, I think, than GB do. I see Ford try and catch it and get a second effort at it, but it was always going to be out of bounds.
Great camera work there by the Ulti TV broadcast team. Getting all the angles today. The finals we've got coming to you from every which way. As we mentioned earlier, we've got 2 more very scrumptious finals coming up after this. The ladies, Germany, Finland, and in the mixed division, the Amsterdam local hometown heroes face off against the French national team in the penultimate game of the weekend. Here comes the Condors.
For me, Windmill Finals Day is probably the best day of the ultimate calendar.
And we're here living it right now, bringing it to you in your home. What a great catch at midfield by Alcock. Forward, Bignell. GB moving it about well. Attacking area. Abrams. Big around. Brooks. Shot for goal, caught off balance, not in yet. Will there be a call here? Perhaps a pick. There was some extra separation there.
Just a little bit of discussion on the mark about what the stall count is going to be. Alex Brooks is going to have the disc back in off the check.
Gets his dump. Abrams. Brooks again. Abrams and Brooks, good 2-man game behind the disc. Abrams moves forward. Eels to goal. Great Britain bounce back after the double break. They're down by 1. Still down a break. 2, 3. Still for the Condors.
GB crossing their D-line players over to the O-line for that point, giving their O-line a chance to rest their legs a little bit. But the D-line offense looked probably cleaner than the O-line offense did, it has to be said. And part of that's got a lot of players who are very comfortable with the disc in their hands. Tom Abrams, for example, we saw doing a lot of the handling work, played on the D-line for Clapham for many years, recently crossed over to the O-line for them, but playing D-line for GB here this weekend, and probably in EUC as well. We're just seeing that really good snag from Orcock and a tight pressure from Condors.
Easy goal in the end. Here come the Condors. Swung across, Sam Swink. And Gilligan has the disc. Pops over tops. Back again to Swink. Early. Centering. Weaver. Gets his dump. Shot for goal, not quite in, right on the doorstep. That one's into space, it's well around. Dom Leggio, 4-2, Condors hold their O.
Pretty comfortable that for Condors. They haven't really looked flustered by the GB defense there. They seem like they're much more comfortable in this game. I don't know if GB have maybe psyched themselves out a little bit too much in their own heads a bit, whereas Condors, they just look comfortable both playing and on the sidelines. They look like they've just found their natural rhythm. It's not necessarily the intensity that you associate with these American teams, but it's all about getting in your personal zone. If that's occasionally maybe being a bit more laid back, whatever works for you is good for me.
Ja?
Dus helemaal vol.
I said it, I thought that the party prowess, because of the lack of parties, would maybe favor the GB Open team, but as a member of many teams that have thrived at the party, there is something to be said about being able to walk off or walk into the final with that swagger of the party, knowing that you beat them Saturday night, and you can beat them again Sunday afternoon. Let's see how that plays out here. GB moving up the field. Haynes with the disc, forward to Ford. He trips over. Continues with a backhand from his hips. GB still working, very quick movement out of GB. Ash Yo with the goal, and GB made that one look easy, Benji.
We talked about how they got a pretty potent D game, but that time just working the disc under the stall count, never really got above 3 or maybe 4. And when you're constantly moving the disc like that, it's so difficult to defend because you've always got to keep your head on a swivel. Think about how am I positioning myself? How can I orbit these defenders to make sure that I'm in the right place? And when the disc moves so quickly, constantly changing the angles of attack, it's so difficult to stop.
That's the thing. The angles of attack is the biggest advantage you have from keeping that disc moving.
That was, I think, the highlight of the point for me. Ford throwing the disc from his knees and moving the disc so quickly that there's no way the defenders could cover that break side without the force getting on there.
So, 1-point game. GB playing defense. Their D-line is going to be the line that's going to need to get that break at some stage. It's very... A lot of wind under it, a lot of wind affected it.
One of the things you see sometimes with pools and with deepers in these stadiums' atmosphere is the wind changes a little bit if it gets high above the stadium. It's a little bit more exposed. So you see often with these discs that go high in the air, it looks like they've got one shape, and then the wind will pick up and it'll hit it and it will move it out of the way.
Disc is in. Condors on the attack. A zone look from GB. That's our first zone look taking their time, plucking through the middle of this zone. Mossink. Well moved. Now for goal. Easy one in the end. A cheeky break on the near sideline. Shane Early with the goal. Condors maintain the 2-point buffer.
Yeah, just a busted coverage there from GB. Left a man wide open, and you can't do that against teams the quality of Condors. Again, like we saw from GB, just keeping the disc moving quickly, and GB didn't really ever look like they were going to get close to that disc. Just looking at the disc too much, maybe looking in the backfield, and left Early wide open on that far sideline.
It's just guys 0. Hey, 0. What? Are you Aiden Hall? Oh, fuck. Okay, thank you. Cheers. How are you? All right, brother.
Condors up early on in this game, had the best of the early going. We'll see if GB can close that deficit a little bit now.
Here come Great Britain. Briggs with the disc, centering. Wilson. Upfield again. Yao. Ash Yo. GB looking patient, getting openings with a huge break. That's really going to open the field. Rollage cashes in the goal, but the throw was the highlight of that one. What a beautiful break. They were getting space on either side and then blown wide open with the breakthrough.
A couple of raking inside forehands from Josh Briggs, lashing it over to this near side, and there was one to initiate the play to Conrad Wilson, and then that last scoring shot to, I think there's a couple of number 10s, and that's Alexis Long for GB with the goal. But just, obviously you want to do your job as a force, but it's so difficult when you've got throwers the potency of Josh Briggs, because it's a little bit pick your poison. Obviously you're really conscious of giving up the around break, but as soon as you shade too far that way, he's got those inside forehands, and he's not afraid to put them at pace as well.
Here comes the GB defensive unit. So we're looking at the Condors attack. Tran with the disc. Still with it, is no mark in sight. Now the mark engages Mossig. Tran and Mossig, 2-man game. Sideline, wind up, no delivery. Tran looked like he had it going up line, but the defense takes over. Swats it away, layout D going up line. GB get a chance to break.
Fantastic play there from Josh Orcock, not afraid to throw himself around, put his body on the line, and McKay now picking up for a GB for a chance to get this game to tie.
Roland fakes the big hammer. Now waiting for somebody to fill, but the D was good. Bounce, catch, Ollie Gordon. What a play, heads up play in the end after a bobble. Gordon again, sideline, attacking area, well picked up. McHale into the end zone, that counts. Rollage with the goal, but there's a pick called, it's coming back.
It's a little bit cluttered in the end zone. Both players coming towards the same space. Garner left it for Rollage, but obviously when two people going for the same space, it often means that there's two defenders running across each other, and that's going to cause that pick.
Freeman. Fake on the scoop there by Slaughter. Slaughter's got to work. Oh, does he ever? Gets down, picks it up. GB working hard for this goal. They've had a couple opportunities, couple stoppages in it. They're still hacking away.
It's a little bit of a collision downfield between Mosnick and Slaughter. Nice slap of hands. Alcock checks it back in.
Here they come. That one will be a goal if it's caught. He's walked it the whole way in. GB answer. It's all tied up at 5. We've got a cracker on our hands today, Benji.
I hope there's no one lactose intolerant watching the stream, because that was full fat gold top milk there from Ben Funk, walking it into the end zone. Ben Funk, originally actually from the west coast of the States, he played his college alderman out at Stanford Bloodthirsty, and then came over to do a postgraduate degree at Cambridge, and has stayed in London, been a stalwart for Clapham for many years now, and he's a really good presence with the disc in his hands for the GBD line offense, but he's pretty potent on D as well. But that time we saw just the phenomenal D from Josh Alcock. There was a huge layout from Hayden Slaughter as well, and then Funk clap catching it above his head for the goal. We're tied back up. Condors still one break ahead, but this game really feels like it's simmering now.
It's getting going indeed. A lot of action in front of us, and what great action we've already got stored in the bank as we speak. It's all happening now, all eyes on this field. Here comes the pull from GB. Condors do stop the roll and had to make a play to do that much.
It's one of those little things that good teams do, is stopping the roll, just giving yourself a little bit of field position, giving your offense a chance to get set a little bit more quickly.
Bacon and Leggio in the handling for Condors.
On 13-7, and when they got into the brackets, they beat Philadelphia 14-10. They dispatched the Czech Republic 12-7 in the semis. GB have been relatively a bit more comfortable in most of their games. They beat Spain 15-7, France 15-5. They beat the Irish 13-10 in a scintillating game that we streamed. Dispatched Italy and Evan in the bracket. Pounded France once more 14-6 before a much tighter semi-final, 11-9 against Austria. So maybe having those tighter games in the bracket holds you well if this game does tick over to Universe Point.
Austrians, an impressive run in this tournament. I don't think they were touted as being amongst the top 4 in the early going. Definitely no schleps, no slouches, but I think they played out of their skin. Let a lot of people know exactly who they are and what they do well. A couple of huge wins for the Austrians.
So we're seeing one of the traditional bits of halftime entertainment here, the Windmill pool competition from the women's division participants here. Benji Reese alongside Steph Rapazzo here at the open final of Windmill 15. What a weekend it's been. It's been slightly tumultuous. Certainly there was a slightly more adverse weather than we had hoped coming into the weekend, but everyone here, the players, the volunteers, the crew, have done a fantastic job of making this 15th edition of Windmill probably my favourite out of the few I've been to.
This is my first one, so it's definitely my favorite of the Windmills, but it really, even with what could be considered as a disaster as far as tournament organizing goes, the one thing you can't control is that weather. And even with disastrous weather, this still stands as one of the greatest ultimate showcases in all of the lands. If you have not been here, get to Amsterdam in 2020 and make sure you get this on your ultimate calendar. Yeah,
Windmill very much the jewel in the crown of European Ultimate, and it's because we get games this level at the end of the weekend, but the party quality is exceptionally high as well.
We see a overtaking there in the pole competition. That's a lead taker.
Do you think we'll see you in the pool competition one year, Stefan?
Yeah, definitely. You can count on that.
What about in the beer race?
Never. If it was straight up what I like to call boat races, and it's just team sculling, I'm all for it. I'll drink a beer fast if need be, but jumping through hoops and rolling around in the dirt and drinking out of frisbees on the ground like a dog, I don't know if I got that kind of metal left in me.
Hey, you don't know what you're missing. I must admit, I did talk a big game on the stream yesterday, and we were really good at the racing part of the beer race. I really let us down on the beer part of the beer race. Hold my hands up. Sorry, Lorcan. Sorry, Sean. I embarrassed us a little bit, but I'm glad that we did it.
Yeah, I'm glad that you guys did it too. I'm glad that I didn't do it.
We'll get you in there next year, Steph.
Okay. Oh yes, please. There's nothing I'd like more than that. Yeah, Lorcan vocally distressed after, not happy with Benji Reese's performance.
It was a bit of a western, I'll be honest.
But as far as I was concerned, it was a banging performance by everyone there, and well worth the price of admission.
Yeah, shout out to the Flying Rabbits who took home the beer race prize, and in the post-game interview they credited their success to throwing up after their heat to make sure they had more beer capacity.
Oh wow, anything for the win.
That's dedication, isn't it? Really putting your body on the line. And that's part of the reason we love Windmill. Is obviously we talk about the party, but there's things they've got. You have the Herbie Games, the beer race. You have the big old mingle on Friday night, where I was robbed, absolutely robbed, absolute disgrace. My toast never popped up out of the toaster we made. I was fuming, absolutely fuming, Steph.
Fuming. The toaster maybe fuming as well. At the time, Benji, I was sleeping.
I mean, on the one hand, that is pretty shameful. As we see Bob and Bicycle Mark warming up the crowd there on the far sideline. But on the other hand, you did stay up till 6:30 watching the Raptors game on Friday night, on Thursday night, so I kind of let you off.
It all balanced out. Last night I had a good one. I stayed up as late as my old bones will keep me, and of course I get to relish in the glory of my hometown team taking an NBA title.
I must admit, you did better than Lorcan did. I had to. On doing some late night reconnaissance, went back to our town. He was sound asleep. I pretty much had to drag him out of the tent. In the end, it was the lure of the secret shower wave that woke him up.
Ah, the allure of the secret shower wave.
Secret shower wave is a great team name, by the way.
Yeah,
I might use that.
That could be a Windmill 2020 team admission.
I'd vote for Windmill 2020 if they ran.
Well, a little bit of spit coming down. We got some lubrication. Looks like we're just about ready for second half action here.
Yeah, wind really picking up as well, going across our faces, roughly right to left, so becoming a bit more of an upwind, downwind game. Our crew desperately trying to make a makeshift shelter to cover up all our valuable tech equipment.
Batten down the hatches. Connor McHale to pull for the GB.
Great bid from Ollie Gordon, getting the D on Cameron Warrener, but there's a foul called back on the throw. Garner on the mark. Maybe a little bit too close, hand caught in the cookie jar perhaps on that throw from Leggio.
Ollie Gordon will have to make another effort the same. That one not going to count.
Still a spectacular play nonetheless.
So let me look at it. Great play by Gordon to get that right hand in front.
So getting some news from some of our sideline crew that this rain should blow through in about 5-10 minutes or so. Gordon's had to take an injury sub after that heavy landing. Bringing on the man they call Mum, Tom Abrams. Actually, I never found out why his nickname was Mum. I wonder why.
Potentially get to the bottom of that before we leave here today. Maybe soon.
I feel like I've done enough GB games now that I should know by this point. But sorry, everyone, lacking on my part there.
Dom Leggio. Checked back in last time he had it. He hucked it for a turnover that didn't count, but here they come again. He keeps it in his hand and he cuts up line. He's got the disc. Centers again, Warner. The attacking end, Tran goes around Weaver. Weaver turns back to the forehand side. On the open side, Bid's coming. Not enough. Gilligan retains possession. Weaver now. Centering, Leggio to goal. Not quite in now. That is. Condors start the second half on the right foot. Shane Early with the goal. Couple of snowmen on the board. It's 8 apiece.
One of the things I think that Condors did very well there is utilising the break side. It was an inside flick that got it going, but they moved so quickly. The timing of those cuts downfield was what it needed to be, so they're catching it and then immediately looking to the break side. The cuts are going and the downfield defenders just couldn't get there in time. Lovely stuff from Condors at the second time of asking.
GB's coming. That defensive pressure was there. Condors did really good to maintain, to stay patient with it and finish the point off. But you got to give it to the GB defensive unit there. They really are coming between the Ollie Gordon defensive play, the Cartwright bit on the hip. Everybody's coming right now.
They are, and they are not afraid to throw themselves around.
Briggs. Gets it again. Inside their half, Mark is playing well off the man, Mead. Briggs. Ford comes to the short side of the field, moves it up quickly, Mead again. Mead now right on the doorstep, shot for goal, counts. Ash Yo with the goal. GB dictate the pace, 9-8. Team GB.
Cartwright on the assist for that one. It looked to me that offensively, the GB stack was set up very deep, really trying to create a lot of underneath space for them, so they can get a lot of yard gainers on those underneath throws, and if the space isn't there, it doesn't clear up that handler space, so they can play a bit of dominator in the backfield and work it between the handlers if they need to. Wind really beginning to pick up, whip across our faces, going from right to left as you see this, the game becoming a bit more upwind, downwind, the crowd in the stands nicely sheltered.
We're doing it tough out here, Benji.
Yeah, up on our extremely high-tech commentary booth of a scaffold.
But it's a beautiful setup here. Once this rain does pitter away, we're in a fantastic position, beautiful vantage point. Good to see this crowd fill in and take shape as the Condors receive the pull and look to level their scores again. Right now, down 1. It's 9-8. Condors disc. Tran finds Gilligan on the far sideline. Gilligan takes Early, wide open, and back to Gilligan again. Gilligan's got to put the pants on, the Fury pants. He was in shorts not long ago. Leggio crosses midfield. Didn't have a centering option. Now he gets Tran. Tran finds the second receiver there. First one thought he was missed. Early with the disc, back to Tran. Tran fakes the backhand. Now gives, too much on it. Tried to go too far on the break side there and missed his mark. GB with a chance to extend.
I don't know if Slaughter got a touch on it, but he certainly did enough across the face of Warner so he couldn't focus and make the catch. And as you mentioned, GB now can open up their first 2-point lead of the game. Condors led by a couple early, but GB have begun to peg them back now.
They have taken the momentum. Rollage. Abrams, and then that one gets away, way out front. Early Condors, opportunity to capitalize on a GB mistake in their own end. Tran with the disc. Mosnick to goal, well read. Picked up by Warner, floaty pass, not the most beautiful throw we're gonna see in this game. But every great catch comes on the heels of a mediocre throw, and that counted as one of them.
Yeah, GB had a great opportunity to put a bit of distance between themselves and the Condors, but couldn't capitalize on it, and we're still tied up there. As you see, the high release backhand from Mossink, and Warner elevates to make that snatch once more on this low angle replay. See him show the low release and then go for the high, and it just goes over Slaughter's head. He goes up early, but he's never really in position to get the D. And this game has been a lot cleaner than the game they played in Swiss draw as well. It finished 14-all, but there were a lot of breaks from both sides. I spoke to a couple of players from GB, and they were they were happy with their defensive performance, but very frustrated with how messy their O-line was. Maybe just a little bit adapting to the slightly different American style. And GB actually were up a couple of by 3 points a couple of times in that game, and Condors eventually pegged them back. On the European stage, one of the things you associate with the Clapham side that comprises the core of this GB team is keeping it close at the half and then making those half-time adjustments and pulling away a bit in the second. We'll see if this game follows that path.
Big hammer to stretch open the field. We see a zone out of the Condors. And GB taking their time with it right now. So far, smooth sailing as Briggs gets the disc. Mead now. Far sideline in front of the barn-style stadium. Wilson. High release flick to Ford. Back to Wilson. Ford wants another touch. Created space there, but a bump on the mark.
Just a little bit too close there from Nick Smith. Indicates the 0 stall count. Checks back in now.
GB. Ford engaged. Comes to Mead on the centering approach. Wilson now with the disc. Back to Mead. Looked off. Ford goes back to Wilson. Briggs. Shot. Big fiery shot. A little bit of a laser throw there. Now Ford in front. Ford to Mead. 10 meters out. Shot for goal. Not quite in. Possibly. Yes, it was. Keeps his foot down. They are celebrating. Ash Yo with the goal. GB back up 1, 10-9.
Some nice toe drag swag there from Ashley Yo at the front of the end zone. When they get in there, that's the person they're looking for. He's such a formidable end zone cutter. That's his money maker. He's good all over the field, but in the end zone, he is almost unstoppable.
It's a good spot to become a specialist for. I'm really good at receiving, and even better when I'm in the end zone. All right, I'll take you on my team.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you want to be good at catching it in one part of the field, I think the end zone is generally a pretty good place for that.
Yeah, specialize there first, and then work out the rest of the field.
Yeah, Yo started playing Ultimate at Sussex University alongside a couple of his teammates here, like Robbie Haynes, and our trainings with when they were at their peak was it was a lesson in Ultimate.
When they were at their peak, are you saying they're beyond their peak? Is that what you're getting to here, Benji?
I meant when we were at our peak at uni level.
Ah, yes, of course.
That highest level of Ultimate.
Mossig sends to Gilligan. Gilligan, no hesitation, perfect throw. Gets Warner. Condors answer. It's 10 apiece.
So just a little bit of a scoreboard gremlin, but we'll get that fixed for you very shortly. Both sides, you can tell why they had a draw in Swiss draw round. This is a lovely put from Gilligan. Saw it nice and early, set it out into that space, and there's no one in the same area code as Warner as he makes that catch.
Beautiful throw from Gilligan. The throw you're expected to make, but all those expected throws more difficult, obviously, when the pressure's on in the big games, and that one came out smooth and silky.
As you see there, the stadium stands full to the brim with Ultimate players.
Ultimate fans right now. Most of them played all weekend long, of course, but once you come to the final, put on your fanboy, fangirl pants and enjoy the show.
Some of those players in the stands looking a little bit worse for wear, and I can understand there's definitely some faces I recognise from about 6 in the morning.
Oh, goodness, Benji. Here come GB. Briggs with the disc to Mead. They've been stable behind the disc. Briggs gets forward to Robbie Haynes. Justin Ford. Big break from Ford. Oh, a lot of float, but Mead had enough space. Mead gets again. Haynes. GB looking strong with the disc right now. Haynes gets it again. Pick called.
Players just going back and resetting their positions. One of the things you can do off stoppages as well is you can alter your position ever so slightly if it means that it's going to avoid picks when the disc is checked back in, but everything looks to be A-OK there.
Mead. Dumps to Wilson. Wilson goes over top on a high release backhand break. Briggs gets it. Wilson. GB in attacking zone. Ford gets it and then quick dish to Briggs. GB score again, 11-10. Staying up 1, holding serve.
GB's offense has been very good in the second half. After they had a little bit of a shaky start, they look like they're really comfortable now, finding their feet in this game. Condors weren't able to exert quite the level of defensive pressure that I'm sure they would have wanted.
They're turning it into boring ultimate, GB, so to speak. Effective, efficient ultimate, but taking their time, being very patient with their resets, happy to go sideline to sideline in the handling area, and just really waiting for the right plays to develop before they take their options upfield. And it's looking good for them right now.
Yeah, we haven't seen a huge amount of the usually potent GB deep game, and I think that's partly because the Condors will be aware of that after their first matchup and are shading behind them ever so slightly, and as well they know that this American side are extremely athletic, so if these puts hang and they're going to get a lot of defensive pressure underneath it, so they're much more content at the moment just to play it and work it underneath.
It's working for them thus far. Tran and the Condors coming the other way. Warner now has the under, but does not find the intended receiver. GB coming the other way. Abrams winds up, but holds off. Rollage wants the around, gets it late, but the run through by Gilligan now. He's got a receiver all alone. It's Warner, but that one goes too far in front. A freebie not taken by the Condors.
Yeah, it looks like GB cracked open the Monopoly set and played the get out of jail free card there. Warner was wide open, but Gilligan just rushed it ever so slightly, saw the window was there, but just put it too far out in front. You see Warner thought about it a bit, but it was never going to get there.
GB with another chance here. Abrams, we hear the wonky horn playing from the far sideline in the crowd.
That is some A+ heckle game from the van, and I am 100% on board.
Oh, big bid from Rowledge. And Condors will get another chance. Bacon with the disc. Pops over top. Well taken in traffic and delivered for the goal. Swink in the end gets the goal, puts the disc in his shirt and lets it fall. Condors make good after an error on their first opportunity.
Couple of times they gave the disc to Great Britain, but their deal on offense that time never looked like it was really going to get going. Had to try and squeeze an inside hand through. Rolich laid out, couldn't get it, and at the third time of asking for that point for the Condors, they eventually punch it in. You see there the bid from Rolich was agonisingly close for Great Britain, and then after the turn, this throw to Mossing was a little bit floaty. A couple of GB defenders converged, but it left the player wide open, and Zhao Gang just jamming in the jam hole for the goal.
Cracking game.
Oh yeah it is. 11-all the current scoreline. Nothing can separate these two sides at the moment. See the cocktail bar in the background. I might make my way over there when this game's done.
What are those? Cocktails? I've never tried one. I better go see what they taste like.
What's your cocktail of choice?
An old-fashioned is my cocktail of choice.
Oh, nice.
There's bourbon and bitters and a little bit of orange rind and some big old ice cube that I love. Old-fashioned. Here come GB. Keeping it on that sideline thus far. Justin Ford engages on the up line. He gets it. Ford looking to go around, has to go way back, dump pass to Mead. Mead centers. Now shot not quite for goal, not quite in. Towing on either side of the line, and then gets Wilson charging down at him. GB answer 12-11, still dictating the pace.
Yeah, catching the point is not usually Conrad Wilson's jurisdiction. You often see him throwing the assist, but that time worked his way to the front. We've seen quite a lot of the time GB towing that front line of the end zone. They're not a team that's afraid to use the full depth of the field. They can stretch you to the back of the end zone, and if they don't like it there, they're willing to go all the way to the front of the end zone to get that. We see an earlier fantastic grab as well from Wilson on that point, and GB stretched the field all the way across as well. Cartwright nearly melted in, couldn't quite do it, and then just popped it in, and Wilson gets to the front of the end zone for the goal, and GB retake the lead here at 12-11.
And we must have had a timeout late in the break there.
Also, I know you didn't ask, but my cocktail of choice, Long Island iced tea.
I was just about to ask Benji. I was getting Long Island iced tea. That's a whole lot of booze in there.
Oh,
A
what do you think?
smorgasbord of mixing. You got rum, vodkas, a bit of everything in that. I remember when I lived in South Korea in Busan, the big dance club there used to serve super teas, and it was a Long Island iced tea with a heavy pour, I think.
A turbo tea.
The only difference. But I love iced tea. If you can make the booze taste like it, why not?
I mean, why do you think it's my favorite cocktail?
Because it tastes like iced tea.
I mean, it doesn't really taste. Well, the thing is, it just doesn't. If you mix it right, there's so much alcohol, and it doesn't even taste alcoholic.
So why is it your favorite? Is it because it doesn't taste alcoholic?
And there's so much alcohol in it.
Okay.
Double happiness.
Double happiness. Deceiving. Sneak up on you and get you. Well, I encourage you to try the old-fashioned. Your next opportunity, Benji.
I am partial on occasion if I'm feeling a little bit more sophisticated.
Yeah, the sophistication can such a beautiful taste. Here we come. Condors, Tran, up and over. Bacon can't get up enough. GB, can they open the buffer here?
Just showed the underside of that disc to the wind on the blade a little bit, and it popped over Bacon's head, and now GB can open their first 2-point lead of the game, and this late in the game is going to be tough for Condors to get it back as well.
And this wind has just been slowly and steadily picking up over the course of this game. It is a thing of distraction here. It is definitely not allowing these players to throw their normal throws. Ollie Gordon on a high stall count launches to end zone. Pack grab available, but no! My God, he got there! I can't believe it! Slaughter after the tip on the pack grab. Spins out to the back corner and lays himself horizontal to pick up the pieces. GB, huge goal to go up 2.
Ollie Gordon put up an absolute prayer. It was tipped, and then Hayden Slaughter was the days he needed. The apotheosis of Slaughter, becoming from man into God. We see just everyone gets underneath it. A maelstrom of receivers underneath. It's Tids, but don't catch your D's. It's going to open the door and Slaughter. Full extension on the layout grab. You can see the shocked faces of the GB players. They thought that was dead.
What a second effort there. That is what you need in championship situations. Your team always tells you just got to make plays. You never know when you're going to get the opportunities for them. But Slaughter found himself in the right place at the right time for that one.
What a man. What a man. And now GB, their first 2-point lead of the game. What a time to get it, and what a way to get it as well, Steph.
Sergeant Slaughter taking command.
Yeah, no sympathy for Condors from GB.
Here comes the D-look. Great pull by Abrams. That one's going to put a hole in the earth. Well handled. Great handling of that pull.
Really good snag.
Weaver. Condors need to bring it now. The hold is essential. Lots of space, but not enough legs. Swink can't turn on the afterburners. Abrams fires deep. Receiver is underneath it. Bignell cashes in. GB putting the foot down. Looking like they're going to hold the puppy under here.
Yeah, the foot has been fully initiated now from GB. They feel like they've just adapted to the wind a little bit better than Condors have. And just they're throwing themselves around. They look like they don't just think, they know they're going to win, it feels like, in their heads.
Condor is asking for a bit of energy from the crowd. The crowd responds and gives it. Let's see if they can respond. We said last time it was getting to desperation time for that hold. Now even more so.
Yeah, GB 3 points up at this point. And so if they can't, Condors can't hold it, it's game over.
They've got their backs up against the wall. Condors need 4 in a row.
And against the tide of the quality of GB, it is tough, but we mentioned when they played earlier, they dug themselves out of some 3-point holes, and it finished 14 all there, but we'd never have a winner. There's no draws in bracket play.
Condors. Field to pull. Tran. Has nothing until late in the sequence. Gets Warner underneath. Warner to Bacon. Bacon winds up. Centers to Tran. Back to Warner. Condors looking good in the early part of this point. Gilligan gets one over the head of Abrams.
Good utilising, taking advantage of Abrams' face marking Gilligan there.
Condors continue to move upfield. Warner with the disc. Taking meters bit by bit. Tran fakes both times, then delivers. Upfield to space. Abrams steps in and says no. And now GB on game point. Abrams with the disc. Shot into the center. Eels to Brooks. To Cartwright. On the doorstep for tournament point. They've got it. Rollins with the goal. GB 15-11. In what was a close game, GB take the late momentum, put their foot down, hold this puppy under, and get themselves another Windmill Tournament Championship.
We talked about it before, how often these GB play really close up in the half and then they just pull away late in the game, and it happened once more here. We were tied up 11 apiece, and then 4 points on the trot, 3 breaks in a row, crushing the heart of Condors to take home the Windmill title. 15-11, and they're going to be a force in EUC and Gjør in Hungary in a couple of weeks as well.
They're tough to beat in Europe, full stop. GB Open, they don't lose often here, and another case of that today at Windmill. Congratulations to GB Open on their tournament championship. Well played by the Condors, a very respectable finish, especially showing a bit of their party vibe as well, here to win it on all angles. They just fell one game short on the field.
Yeah, GB bringing a much bigger roster than the Condors did, and maybe just having those extra fresh legs, they could keep the D-line really energized all the game. And while Condors tired a little bit, especially because they had a much better performance at the party than GB, it has to be said, in the end it cost them in this game, and GB, well-deserved Windmill champion.
That will be all from the open field here. We've got lots of action coming at you. Next up, the women's. We've got Finland, Germany, and don't go anywhere after that because we've still got Ruth and Team France mixed for the mixed final.
Just going to see a replay of what is undoubtedly the play of the game. That absolute skyball hospital pass tipped, and what a grab from Hayden Slaughter. It's just ridiculous.
Just centimeters from the ground there. Like that trailing edge looked like it was all but down the way that was flying. What a spectacular play.
You see one of the photographers, Nico, there right with the shot, so I'd love to see that photo afterwards slapping the ground as well. Oh man, what a game. What a game,
Benji. Well, that will be all from us. Like we said, keep your devices tuned in, refresh your pages, stay with us here, Alti TV, bringing all the action to you from Windmill Tournament. I've been Stefan Rapazzo and have had the pleasure to be joined with the invenerable Benji Reese. Thanks for joining us. We will catch you next time.